what coming over yet to me Asia and Como and Como air to us so a far yen door kita DNA and young kufa and who and you made the embassy make come one sem a year or do young kufa na chassis a doom baby a my yensa a seafoam the incessant for my chivia as yet twaso a cost boy and bra me bompire say Unyankopon ebeka ye ho no ama ye ntiase na bra ye de yadesua ebeba na wie no obi a wonhu ne ho se ono de obu ne ho abomfia ono de obi awde ne nsa asifom enti afei de oni odofo bia wo asetene mu ebiem ono behu se Onyankopon ewo daache fefefe bi ma no enti obetumi ato akoso abone bra na Onyankopon ebemu na onyame epa de wasiesie de ama saa oba no de wasiesie ama saa bema no edaache no Onyankopon ama no abemusa ebi a obi ase utiase na yembo empire otumfo Nyankopon ye di erusie ewo yenkoma mu efise wagye entata e de ewura homeda fefefe mu homeda ya ye dwendwen na Kristo ye kai achebie pii a ode ma yen fiti adebo fiti ase emu baako ene wodo ebusua ene ayonkofa owura Yesu yesre ye pese ye do se na wunyame wo hwehwe ye pese ye fa yonko se na wunyame wo hwehwe ye pese ye hyehye ye busua foforo ne dade nara se na wunyankopon wo hwehwe owura ya ba wo nchen kyerɛkyerɛ ebra ye bie kyerɛsɛmu ma wasɛmu ahoɔdene wasɛmu tumi wasɛmu yiedie konkun ye ne adom ne ahomɔborɔ ensane metena ye so ma ye ntiase awajenkwa Yesu Kristo di mu amen. Therefore, as Mesama Wakwaba, young love, breakups, and moving on. Young love, breakups, and moving on. I do miribia abraboa yebono and kofubinyano smooth, very smooth. I know the anonymous we see so nana adria and say obe worry ubi ubunse na wenyankopon e de onipa kon person worry no the first touch na nsaka no koni baby no masha abrabo kama ase. I wish to say Sankasa, we bear the narrative of each one of us, but unfortunately, abrabo and yes, whereas some have smooth ride and others have a very rough ride. Obi owa, oni obi beshas ye bebu nakuma ye bema nakuma yare esa kuzize lenzabeto nia obe krokro no eswo. Ebi kra ne se arehwo ne se yensa kan ye kuma tone so ye ne boy yembrano in the course of the marriage, then the marriage hits the rock bottom. Then at the end of the day, na divorce aba. Young love, breakups, and moving on. In the terms say young people and young adults are experiencing love, moving our loving relationship, our dating relationship, our courtship, moving it from one level of passion into commitment, what are some of the roadblocks that we need to watch? What are some of the red flags that we need to watch? And when these red flags and roadblocks really get into our lives and we are struck by them, what should we do? How should we continue our love journey when we are struck by such unfortunate circumstances? Boy and bra. Dream who say about call our yemu, ye be you be a bed donwa, ye de akumenina, but tuno so no so the akuma two and so. So bisa ma yensa esifoma a den NSSA. Ya this yemu ye be babemu na yehu sanema eninara. Na me bompa say unyankopon be peja ubia ono efa sati bi animu na onipa kuno enya enidaso ewo ne bremo. Ade ba ko a aya yemu bebre yen time ti ase ne say say ye emebunu a ye hye odo anyonkofa ase no eka abrabomu enyini eho. Won say from the age of 12 ye be 13 years mu me kind of general scope ye be 13 teenage ni mu no ye wo niema bi a esesa ewo ye mbrem ye wo niema bebre ubon se be ma na the voice mu ayedu oba ubon se na the shape no was starting take shape enwi efufu ewo ye nipadua eho bebre ye wo sa science we na minim se ye nim ho niema bebre. Now, I am pretty bebre ade ba kwa yen tan enka relationship. Now, me person say as young people, as we enter into love relationship, it is part of our developmental processes. It is through these love relationship, as we form love relationship with the other person, that is when we really realize our emotional intelligence and our social skills. So it helps us to develop and form an idea of a good self-concept and interpersonal relationship. Na aya ye mebu no esan say yen time ka sa asem winti no aya na ye gen say sa relationship, love relationship, whether it is on the surface or on a deeper level, no, sometimes something that is supposed normally to be temporal, no, we mistake it to be permanent relationship. Now esan say why dear about permanence and the reality of teen relationship also a temporal no entino edu mmiri bia e de rain na akohyem na esan say it is not bound to hold, no, only few of such relationship develop, no, it ends abruptly na failure ama ya akoma yare. But you need to know, say, just as puberty traits are signs of a developing young person, young adult, so also relationships, building relationships, ending relationships, and starting another relationship, you know, so cycle, it is part of our developmental processes. Now, it's a developmental, you know, understand it is fleeting. It is fleeting. In most cases, you know, young love, you know, does not last in most cases. A bit of about you can get about less than 5% of when develop your young love into adulthood a sustaining one. But in most cases, you know, a developmental processes. There can be a developmental. To say we a baby, work feeding bottle shower no. Bones a crack and now area. So now we feed baby yemu. They ba o toddler yemu from o toddler yemu na feed ye o they ba a baby infant toddler. Then after that, you know, what they call childhood and now even say teenage years, you know, now teenage years in Musa and now the air call young adult. Now understand is say we fit one stage to the other. What you held on to, no matter how you might have loved it, you know, remember, say you may have to let it go. So sad, but you may have to let it go. Now understand that is the same way relationship also works. Well, no matter the kind of feeding bottle we a baby, when you say you're pink, say you're blue, whether the teeth, you know, are very comfortable for you or not, you know, it doesn't matter. When you grow from baby to infanthood, and from infanthood to toddler, Ontario be an open. I want to mean Shebian. When you give in life, when you maybe when you give one stage in life, more a failure when you jaho upon as all manako. So also is our developmental relationships. When they happen, it is for a purpose. It is not bound to last. It must happen for us to develop emotional intelligence. It must happen for us to develop social skills. It must happen so that we know our weaknesses, so that we know our strengths. It must happen. When they tease us, how we respond when we are happy, how we respond. Love relationship, it is bound to happen to teach us those skills. They are not meant to be to last. Only few may last, but generally they are not bound to last. The mistake is we hold on to those ones, even though we know we have moved on. We hold on to those ones, and years after, ghosts of the past, those experiences, those passion, that kind of joy that eluded us whilst we were developing in this loving relationship, we didn't have it, but we use it years later, maybe 20 years time in our future life. We use that to torment ourselves for some love relationship that was never meant to last. And so that is what we need to know. Love relationship, young love relationship is of a fleeting pattern. And you must understand, as you leave one stage of life with its task and its adorable circumstances, so also this loving relationship, as young as they are not bound to last. They should be left at a stage when it is bound to be left there. Now, understand this. We are make us say they are not bound to last. Now, So young love make a thing. A crime bears on a fast over. I have young people they cancel many crash. Obi to me crash crowd on the teachers. Oh, so a teacher or bar teacher bema. Obi to me crash one so young people mention the crash do ahead there be so. So but it me crash because we also many crash where the men who not mean to mean that now crash and I a back crime so. But I can't say I'm serious. But they're tossing me very serious part. First one is identity crash. Obi wa huna senior nini pedua etie. Ube so ne share some common hobbies. Well, who also be a what type of na we say chi ekeka. Ono so one na ti osa na ono so ne say chi keka no na ono so titis and dia hunu say one ne wo bibi in common. Obi wo ha wo hwe ne sa na wo school chi mass, umpem mass kra algebra. Uchi so bete krono so be kono algebra ono so saa no tie dubo se ebra mudi nkomo na mushia ebon komo asen namfofo ewa sorry mushia namfofo ewa adwuma mu mushia namfofo ewa school no once a while we say no obi akoka so move we na me pepa na we so say me so me pesa anti edu de bia obi a one wo something in common as young people no etimi me nya crash so ewo so na no na taisisi eba na etumi twemko eba na etwemako but could be a romantic crash and they are very serious ba nipa na afedi ohun na okuma abo pitiri anajo na odwe ne ho afedi wo dress ya wo hwe ahwehwe ni mu a ne ono na ohun wa ahwehwe ni mu watari a wo hye bia no buza ho say eh where the sister Eva or Bepa and Brother Steven, now that person becomes why you do things and why you will not do some things. I feel Obia on time penataria color matching. I feel the romantic crash. I feel as if the person lives with him or her. Or ye bibi and I feel or dinner. Hey, I dear Brother Steven who and any bedroom one. Sister Eva who and any bedroom one. Bibi or ye biano, that person, pleasing that person and knowing that person is always looking at him or her, looking at the direction, her direction. That is the only thing that pleases such a person. Basa as young people, no, basa as a romantic crash. No, omutumi pushi a grandma, edu de bia ye trifa ya wo also. Edu de bia we go beyond the authority just to make our romantic crash see us. And yet me ko dina kwan bi omo type so pa. So say na be benya romantic crash no. Na sa romantic crash any identity crash. Etumi ba uzo bi wa waka jo say wa ma me blush o blush yes e bo hu na ase uhu no na ndo na make na ase ne nsem aye wet kakra na so na won de no ubu na na fono ahye kakra afidi obi hu na nipa a won da nye formal organize afidi wenya ne crash bi nti o person ye formal organize is part of team development, is part of team development. Now it sounds as a romantic crash per se aya niema me nsem bi na say ye hye ne so. It is based upon physical attraction or physical intimacy. It is based upon sexual fantasizing, and it is based upon sexual feelings. So, physical attraction or intimacy, sexual feelings, and a sexual attraction. Let me add the one word be actually a passion. Now, essence say, sa odo anyon kufano ejina passion so it doesn't move and grow deeper. Although bia stage bia fa atrapom yensem, there are 3 stages in every developing love. You have passion, which is there, which is the akona sema American. You have the passion there. Then you have the intimacy. Akona neba it move to afenfam so afenfam. We have the intimacy. Na no na aya yenya bo aware mu no. Akona na ba ye kon do obi na ye movie into intimacy. Ya ware nipa no nti ye ho akofam no. Afi aware mu no ye ware no we grant our decision, our commitment to live with one another till death do us part. And you can see the epochs, the 3 epochs of a developing love. We have passion, we have intimacy, we have commitment. Every love moves to this one. And when commitment is reached its peak, that is what we say it is consummated love. And the Christopher, say, a friend or agape love, the uncomfortable friend agape love is better expressed as consummated love. Love that is full of passion, intimacy, and commitment. And a balance, a bimbro, a biso. Nanso, obesheno, So teen love, make young love. It begins at the passion stage. It never moves on. Remember, is passion, physical intimacy. Physical intimacy. Esem me hu me crash no. Me pese me ne na man pese me so ne nsa. Pese me de me nsa atu ne sisi. Pese me de me nsa atu ne komu. Pese me de me nsa efa ne tirimu. Me pese ne space na wo se me de me nsa aka ehwe. De bia me pese me ne no spend time wo social media so. Me pese me hu no kwan bi so a obi ahu ne da. Physical intimacy ade no no. Well, we do de bi so a sexual attraction eba and sexual feelings and so on. So we a components of passion. Now, essence a movie from that passion to intimacy. That love is never developed. That love is never developed. Remember, I've said teen love is a developmental process. It is never meant to be permanent. Only few last, but in most cases, it is based upon lustful desires. And infatuation. So what is for cancer? Infatuation. Enyini eyodo I say edua meka say enyini nti mframa bope na dua no etutu na aya na yemu bebre no saa odo no ene ye de ere ekohyem but saa odo no remember as I've said it is never meant to last so we are lucky and emu be 5% bi and aya etimi ko odo papa mu e move from passion intimacy to commitment into consummated love. And most of the time, expect to say, as we are developing, not ye journey maybe ye condo a later stage in life. Ye task be performing because we have moved on from then. So also young love is bound to happen. And that is a journey it travels. And do maybe circumstances beyond your control. Of course, you have circumstances from your side, circumstances from your group side and association and more and as circumstances from your parents' side. Okay. Most of these, you don't have control over. And breakups and so developing love, teen love. Number one, parental factors. When papa no mommy bet me say Bra Steven Eva or the neighbor the need and general. The way I dress, the way I nante, the way why you need to be and now on the mamma and say na I will bet me can be brave. So because crash na wo phone who's are crashing you. Wa for share no from a different side. And the our for to me bemu and ma do the bia sa crashing developing into this teen love. Who say na failure asoha. Na ha na ya na young people no ebi wo ha yen to me nti ase papa. So to be na ne awo for ayaka. Obehuni ye 12 afifie obehuni akotena oba na so me akotena behema no eso and not you movie from there. But in most cases, parental factors may cause breakups in this developing young love. Also, shallow decision. Remember, sabre ye nyini. So ye nyini. Ebra Bible says me yakora na me dream sakora. Enti ebra me yakora na me kondo ebia Johnny Quest cartoons. Afraid ye what the Johnny Quest cartoons mami ame mpedi. So because you're changing your man, ebia me yakora na me mpe broccoli. Now in saying the ebia me deep broccoli because me nyini. So and ebra ye as our choices and our decisions and our likes and dislikes change, So also no ebra unyini where the 14 years who are branching no wapa na your crash. I've heard you no at the age of 2 years later, 16 years, I've been who crana wolf. Well, ebia unya identity crash be movie be anu ani je ho pa na na sister no so ono so abawa no no so n'ani je ho afi the movie no crash wa hwe ne saa ma fono tunhia na obuofu na se na movie na fono saa na sister no so hu na the ho efono because the only thing that brought you together was that movie. So sometimes our decisions are shallow and they are developing. Remember, because they are developing, sometimes we may have to say goodbye to the things we love because we have moved from one stage of life's development to the other. Sometimes elusive attractions. Senya yenhu ni pa kono ye bena yenhu se say de mi hu ye nte saa o say de mi hu no na ebia ne ntare kama wo hye no say ne bra panyin ntare bi na ya na ode born life say ni sister lavender na ode aye no ho hwiam saa ema me attracting afi de mi hu no who say so that elusive attraction can also be the cause of a young love breakup. Sometimes school. say your school, say your high school, your colleges. It is for a duration, and to be to me movie from one part of the country to the other. Yeni na ye be school, but that yeni na ye be try your final papers every na obi abeko ne fie no. Some go east, some go west, some go north, some go south. And go for people you will never meet them until sometimes you hear of their deaths in your lifetime. You never hear of them anymore. Obi wa ni as party company pen one on unshiano ebiemo. And sometimes that is what happens. We may have a crash with a certain lady, Sister Iba, or a certain gentleman, Brother Stephen, but we won't say yes, cool baby, or no, a fan not men so afame kwan. Afraid we walk different paths in life. Obi to me Australia, obi to me akupie or Canada. Yenshia ebiemo in our lifetime. And you won't say automatically that teen love a developing, it abruptly comes to a standstill. Sometimes also peer influence. Ube who are branches, ube who are by you be, ube say obema a blush. So after the ube say ube who are now we open madu we send our osses say akusiani efiano. If I also obey us, a jana se man. Ube na be maybe so a member now focus. Hey, maybe they are just a one no more body at the friend. Ube say crash no when you know, and so now for also. And to them, because your friends did not endorse that lady or that gentleman, that way, Jana as a mama. I do believe so. Relocation. Remember, as young as you are and you are developing, of course, I think I will be paid with you. We are young adult, we are to stage. And this is, I remember, the one who are for that. I do maybe now I will for decide, say, I think you are Texas, my young Florida, you moving via Uncle Hasi. And because we move from one geographical location to another, or location now was see and crash now on to me into two few of it. That is the end of it. I video and a cano when you are away or don't know and cosu ebimo. So and cosu sena etieno. Ebi wa yanka sakrano etumisi ye in school, ye koye internship baby, and now say you're starting ye juma. But when we say we stay at woman, a juma for be baby in another state, and you move from there to so crash in a workplace where we're moving from there to another state into a failure, and also on to me end with a failure out of sight, out of love. So it becomes true until love breaks. Sometimes misunderstood commitment. Well, you been a crash, you know, be besua diabumu, will be pay us some, will be my ride. Obi eba company ye hiana obe fref but do miribia aya ye mistake such concern for commitment obi wa the oye ni na no e wo say wo na wo wanya crash one so but ono je say we are the Christian sister we are the Christian brother and this time ba adwena wo dwene jai sa o na Brother Stephen obo na obo akeke Brother Stephen sister iba wo hiana ntino friend de bia na oba no wan hwa no adwene akoye o say abayo yi de opewa ama na so bi wa na ntesa ono ye ne femu there because the Bible says we should be hospitable and you also ye your hospitality no una ye the target well we do miribia obi ye bibi kire a na ye de ani akosi so say na die se ne on pa ko na dream fa ho no enya za na wo dream fa ne ho wo hu ne so your romantic partner ono so hu so your Christian brother we a Christian sister in fact so person or my peg cry holy peg also the offer romantic peg so we do bia na misunderstood commitment no etumi e ma no e basa. Sometimes addictions and so to me a Martin breakup, but the kind of boom, you had a crash and so ya bamu. But to boom say, when they abanti and sister Iba, no, I cover George Kakra, no, sister Iba, I cover vodka, no, sa, no, kakra, or not abanti Stephen, a fair chikakra, or addicted to gambling. Once until Emma, crash, no, San Yama, we are now on pen, a tissa or pen or penus. To those all of us, I don't friend. And as I said about changing passions and changing interests, as young people, our interests keep on changing. And you do many that Brother Stephen, so Brother Stephen, and Mama come round. It's not Namakum Brother Alex, oh, Brother Stephen crown, just Brother Alex, Mamma dropping, no dropping. And then only Sister Eva and Nam, but it's not Namaku Sister Kusia. Both the Sister Kusia one year pet chain, the Eva one, into no dropping. Your interests are always changing. And when interest changes, remember, say our preference for love and also will also change. Now, I am not a cosisa. In fact, yare bi a your friend of broken heart syndrome. Aya a tie see ewo nipa and na make can be said bi wo appetite ni bi asesa ene nema and mesan ka ho asem bi. In fact, they make ka ho asem ndra so bi say wo be hwesa ade kra nchenda. So aduane a open to ni mu as a pu ebra. So but we need this level na broken heart le do a most all of a sudden we need to change. And two ones as any pack one man akunya pe no go for more. So edu mmiri bi nso a obehu se na koma ne koko ne chest ne bono left toward the no benkum die no bo se na eno so eye de pa edu de bia science for beka che say we left ventricles no eno na ya etumi cause sa pain no and you lose concentration and most of the time no so na we ni na instant name be etumi ba na etumi to us up to 5 years. In fact, experience and research has shown say obitumi broken heart etumi last as a chronic disease for 5 years. And sa na no bibia emebono ne young adults mama yenka ho asem na yenhwe ye ho yie wo ho. Unfortunately yeni a group bi a betumi vaccine bi a betumi any of us against broken heart syndrome. Betumi anya bi, we so betumi anya bi. Remember, say teen love is always fleeting. It is developing. It is a dear lucky. Now betumi am nature into real marriage, moving from passion to intimacy and to consummated love or commitment. And here also, but most cases, 95%, it is fleeting and it's temporal. And as long as you who say be temporal, you fire kumeni na nkoshemu. Because we are coming in Akoshima, when you broken heart syndrome. Eduane ope, ebe yose bonyo. Insu ya ope, edemawa obepo aba. Tama woda kra na video bonansi saye abeni. Na aya arepo semne se etumi ma emebuni bi emrante ni nketesi ano. Utumi kojina bridge bi so. Nze kuruma so de ye bridge bi across rivers gaps. Wo se ne aye bridge kama utumi jina o sa no mato mo atu boom no mo oma commit suicide. Adentia if a crash no the romantic crash no so on penny bi mu obo so no amoamoa no so onya obeku no ho no mo de sekan no mo de twa mo restase onya obeku no ho okope ahoma bi de assign no kon obefa aduro bi no wanom saa ne mani na etumi ema yensunsuanso a ede efisa broken heart syndrome yi edeba enya no nko edu de bia obi nso tumi obi ananka onnom nsa nom jot obo nsa afedie na afedie esina no sa ensa ene jot adentia if the sister Eva say on penny bi to the aye ensa no young person awo daachi na onya crash bi sister Eva crash no Eva so on penny bi to braste bi say on the onku no ho obenom nsa sa na nsa ne ka ne photo enya no nko awo obi nso etumi ye titru mba ne bi etumi decide say the emema ye mi be show memani na me show memani na nti say na mo peche makoma no be so me hwehwe tietie o makoma so nti oye na ho say odo bi sa no so dey awon back obe hu abrante bi oba bi aye ne sa ono so yes me mani na sa na me ye obo payback na sa so my we ni na no ye nsu a eye broken heart syndrome edeba edu mmiri bi a obi pese odi ne ho edem o ye ne ho bibi mark bi na that hu brastevi na waka chese brastevi hwemani kama wo hia me na menni sa mark wo na wo ma sa mark ba na kwem obi wo pese o ye ne ho bibi wo no de ne ho akobol o de na ya bodua bi wo hu afri de ne ho apem bibi na mark bi aba no hia sister ibu aka sister ibu wo hu de o ye go me de makoma ema wo de wakoma ma no but we fi se senia obra enyini na mo nso mu develop no we fi se sa na mo nso mu ni sa na nka mo do no anka be develop sa na nso ese mu ja ho se na be ya mo be ni obi afa na plan we fi some enter into depressive moods feel bonu aye bosa hu na waye boti after I said there's no life, there's no energy, there's no passion in that person anymore. The piano academy esimo ade efe eye ne time de biara na asa on de wa twene ho efi nipa mu esa se sa na ma we ye nsuanso a broken heart syndrome edeba afedi obi nso etumi ebo pitiri no waye bibi keke on twene ho otumi edim kra tumi ye shopping just broken heart no eba otumi ko no na mo ma no toto nema places are ne Bema and Nanti, Bema, Steven, any Eva places on fire. I feel the open a broken heart and a bebano, no person of fast places or name to toy and was to talk to Tony Mano. As if so to toss any man who's any manner. Steven Bessa Ban in champion, Sister Eva Bessan, Aban in champion. A be also a more no more as you or more as a petit prebi, ebe 2 or more, a debian ye, ebe see will bring what that will come crashing on their heads. Enti debiano na omoyem shiwomo debiano no mu kra Sarah and Sani Mabini na insurance and so broken heart syndrome edeba. Ayana arehosem ne say obi onya broken heart no ubusa na obeka just me de menya broken heart biawo. Say make an home say sister we wakai ebra ebito. Obeka chiro obi one of the signs is that we deny it, but it is a fact and it is part of our lives. Enti aya as I say yehwe yehu eyi ewo niema bebre enho na yehwehwe science bi enti mame nche science ni bi nche te say wo ana say wadamfo ana wunua bi ana wabusuani bi so shows our science we bia memma no enye ahwehan. Don't just look on. There are red flags that calls for you to attend to the person. Yes sir, ebi e chena bi kwante asem papa if you say only pakon na crash ama a broken heart. Number 1, isolating from family and friends. Obia one ebusuafo bopa, one ne namfofo ebopa. Afi de obehu no watwe ne ho withdraw. Watwe ne ho afi ne namfofo mu, watwe ne ho afi ebusua mu. Ankone ne ebusua na didi bom. Afi de broken heart ne bae no. One obi an didi bom. Ne namfofo a anka kyese edude bi a otumi twifa de maame ne papa so kra no akɔhwehwɛ ne namfofo no. Afi de ɔhwehwɛ ne namfofo ni bi mu. Da obehu so obi aya ankonam no watwe ne ho afi nipa mu no. Ne srewo. Let it be your concern. So one kasa let it be concern also for you because papa. Secondly, prolonged feelings of worthlessness. Once not to an media main fata. I said me pa me jina hwehwe pa me hu se me hwene bo baby esi maso etare baby esi me triwi me twem ankofo bi hwem reza me ne me hakoma stem na wayɛ me basa. Enti se me pa obu me say enti me fata na enti iba pa teacher say e ma wo me school mu na nkomo hwɛ me omo hwɛ sɛ ne ame nante sɛ ne ame tenten ye na bebre kra pɛ sɛ omo pɛ me numbers omunya na me de me number akoma me crash iba na iba yɛ me sai ene kyɛ sɛ me hu ni mfaso obi a ebere bia ankrankra biara ubenya kwadwen sɛ wo hu ni mfaso obe question how precious you are, how wealthy you are. Remember say then you may be suffering from broken heart, especially when relationship will be about recently. Thirdly, you need to also understand that there will be significant changes in your eating and sleeping patterns. After will be on didi cry, and I'm making a piano open, will lose your appetite into didi. Ebi monsu didi pa, Emma, oye, and we increase weight. And see, I know what check it. Obi always will didi more than the usual, than the relationship I end there. Men funnel say a traffic. It may be a sign that is raising attention to broken heart syndrome. Obi will also wonder, Nani gusu sabo na nani na ya koko na nani enchen na hu na ya black sa hu na. These are signs of sleep deprivation. Well, and to who sa niema we ni na mesre wan kasa no kan hu se ebia na broken heart syndrome no ebi about. Obi nso be da pa. What was oda? No the sumie na chechere no was fogu sumie no so sa as if say sumie no back of rebra stem na bre no ana eva nam sumie no so beba but entesa so Sunday in the and there are signs that we need to watch out. Now sometimes such people suffering from broken heart syndrome they will be referring to self-harming behaviors or suicidal behavior. Both are motivated more can make real secret pemasem. Make them be they will be ase. Minya me wukra nasa, me wukra will be ensu. Well, no, kekasa say me na. So who said these are signs of broken heart syndrome. Now also difficulty functioning at school or at home. Obi abehu ne report from school from one term to the other. Ubehu say nanka or ya de kama na there's a sudden drop. There's a sudden drop. In fact, counselors I was school. One of the reasons guardians counseling was school. Anytime there's a significant drop from a high to low marks, it's a red flag. Nti aya na yekubusa ehwehwemu epesempese. Awofo see who say yema a drop this aba, let us begin to investigate about our relationship. One kasa young adult. So who said there's been a significant drop in your performance at work or at school in your normal executive functioning. So you cannot maintain concentration. One can advise yourself, say, some relationship are ended here, that broken heart syndrome. Sometimes we are unable to enjoy hobbies or interests that used to be loved. Open movie, after the movie, no person will be more. After the open soccer, one person will be more. Maybe when you swimming, athletics, and so one person will be. You have a certain hobby, what kind of book? Be a bed watching, be a open walking. The obey be an anangu any gym. After the bones as any panua to if it's any money now. These are things that you need to watch. They are signs raising a red flag. Order for now, understand this is such feelings, it is not unique to you alone. That is one thing you must understand. It is not unique to you alone. One time or the other, because we are all developing. You are not alone. When you get to understand that you are not alone, I think it's your perception about broken heart, your perception about teen love, your perception about breakups, it will change. This is a renowned king, David. Ono the emphasis say, for the identity crash, and for no pe or him, and for come the trimopo, or show mobile say, dear, Obia Danny when teach them yourself, way dear, or moon family and sifo. Psalm 41, verse 9. Psalm 41, verse 9. When you are Kenneth Ekama and the dead, then I'm a son count, Mubimo. Or say, even my close friend, the crash, whether it's identity or romantic crash, someone I trusted. Nia, me wo arishimu ewonimu. Nia, minim say, ye yini abumu. Nia, wa promise me say, ono die, debia than or the forget me not flower. EBC, so ni rose flower, red one. EBC, so say, ono die, a reason nada adam in poor, ono die, one dada. Sani pakono. David said, me sign in it, me diane, me tirimupo. Asem, medachi. We shared our hobbies, we shared our goals, and that person has turned against me. Maybe I'm a Kaiser country, got a country song to be. Also, some broken hearts can never mend. Also, some tears will never dry. And this is what happens, especially when it gets to this stage. And it happens. You need to understand and say it is part of life. As we develop, we will form young love. Young adults will have young love. It will start. But remember, 95% of these relationships are temporal. They are fleeting. They are based upon passion. They are never meant to last. They are lustful desires, and they have the lustful traits of physical intimacy, of sexual feelings, of sexual attraction. All these things appeal to the physique and to the psyche. And so they are not bound to last. We are lucky, a lasting. But when you're lucky, now and they understand it is part of developmental stages. Senior, we are feeding bottle, feeding bottle. So also some relationship may come your way, and as you develop, no matter how you love that relationship, you may have to let it go. Even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me. Sometimes that is what happens. Life circumstances may change us. Life circumstances may turn our crashes against us. They may turn our crashes away from us. And when it happens, understand and say, it is part of life. That doesn't mean that your life has ended. That doesn't mean that nobody out there will love you anymore. That doesn't mean that is the end of you, and that when you are no more, nobody will remember you. That is not a reason for you to shorten your life or pick up an addiction. That is not a reason for you to say and curse your stars at the day you were born. No, it is normal. As we develop, we form developmental love relationship. And it's based upon fleeting passions and reasons. And as we develop, we may have to move from one state to the other. So such love may have to go so that we can get to the new stage of life. Even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me. Now, how can we move on? How can we move on? How can you move on? In case you're experiencing this broken heart syndrome, in case you are just still wallowing in the love that you never had, what can you do? Then I met me, Number one, validate your emotions and tell your story. Don't deny it. Men can say there be media me strong. I know, and I don't want that now. Oh, kind a homa idea pam pillow. Now can kindness, also I know people in him come I say she see. Oh, that one out that home. Titumu say a branty be a me crash and brastem we pram di me wo makumem. Titumu say sister Iba de makumako. Titumu sa validate your emotions and begin to tell your story to your loved ones, those who care about you, your significant others. Talk with them. Now also, you need to practice what we call self-care. What do I mean by self-care? It is about putting up positive behaviors that will enhance good health. So I want to time now, broken heart, no, making sure says our time, when you are near woody, a bear kama. Tama woda, a bear kama. Men dreams are some who be if the brother would dream who be no, it is taking your interest and your energies away from what you love to what you didn't have. And why would you spend time on things you didn't have? Because you didn't have it. Should you end your life? Remember, if you get so much involved in the past, the present will be disturbed and the future will take you by surprise. Practice self-care and not pen a bit to me about of course, brastibini and says form. Sister Eva, ada or the akomako. Now, so does it mean that it is the end of life? Mami shemi hu yemu na dachi ohumia. Ne kwan dose anka oneme etnaya anka buano. I saw you unya ubetumi ahwe wo hu eye. Now reach out and connect. Remember, broken heart syndrome ba ko ye withdrawal, isolation. Ema ye twe ho fie busuanfo ho. Ema ye twe ho fie enamfofo ho. Na mom say sa time no edu a make sure say sa time no and na obeya hwe yemu but because say only or company no only or company more it gives you that kind of assurance say somebody loves me, I belong, somebody accepts me. It is true Sister Eva might have dumped you. It is true that your crush Brother Steven might have dumped you, but your family and your friends, they still hold you in high esteem. That is a balance that you can rely on in moments of broken heart. Now also evaluate your attitude. Edu sa bere na busa ho. Dem pa na ma me chusu ye. Dem pa na me hu Sister Eva mu a. E ma me de makoma kwhye ni. Me nso wo de gina hwehwem na ka kire ho. Me nso me duobo. Ha Sister Eva dem kwa na ma me kohu ya me kopɛ ne sa. Bra Steve de na me hu nkra me kopɛ ne sa. Se na be ya onim de wo ye. You are evaluating your attitude. Se na be ya that should be se koba se uko chusu bi mu a. You be careful. So when you evaluate your attitude, you are bound to make mistakes because you will not learn from your mistakes. And the who bra Stephen will choose you, who bra Kwesia, who choose the same thing. Who Sister Iba, who choose you, who Sister Kosia, who choose the same thing. Let it be a moment of personal evaluation, self-evaluation. And then the mommy choose. Why didn't I see this sign? Sister Iba, yes, who Jamino. When Jamie precope, I'm a friend and now me sending the message be Brother Steven while my reply. And so they be an mama reply. This is what you tell yourself and you evaluate your attitude. Now also develop emotional intelligence. Some may catch them say young love is a developmental stage. A boy may developing emotional intelligence and relationship management or social skills. Now with emotional intelligence, I am talking about how you perceive, how you live out and experience emotions, how you manage emotions, your weaknesses and your strength when they show. And how do you behave? How do you behave? Do you understand yourself? Do you have an awareness of your weaknesses? Do you know yourself? How far do you know yourself? How deep do you understand your strength? Emotional intelligence gives you these ideas. Now, how emotional intelligence now, young person, but it is through relationship with other people and you develop emotional intelligence. But you form emotional intelligence. And one way life teaches us emotional intelligence, how be the better way is through broken relationships. And the extent that we can go, the lowest step, what we can go do. And now, how to manage relationship also. Well, I do the be now then I'm a year. How did that contribute to this broken up relationship or this breakup? How did I contribute? And when we say, who shall before for be one master weakness? And that is how we develop. Remember, teen love is part of our developmental processes. They are never meant to last, but they are meant to teach us emotional intelligence and soft skills like social skills for relationship management. Then reclaim your self-concept. Of course, Brother Stephen Ejao, Sister Eva Ejao, I don't say if what wakuma, wakuma. But does it mean say your value in life is determined by Brother Stephen? Does it mean say your value in life is determined by Sister Eva? Don't you know, say Onyankopon might be saving you from a destructive marriage in future? Now, be thinking about this and build your self-concept. Now, love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, nobody will. Now, you need to do things that brings you personal happiness, because if you don't, nobody will. You need to set your personal goals, aspire and achieve greater things. Put your life in focus, because if you don't, nobody will. You don't live your life for Brother Stephen. You don't live your life. God didn't create you for Sister Eva. God created you to live your life to its fulfillment. If you happen to see somebody who shares your values and your joy, it is bonus. It's an added gift from your Creator. But until you meet that person, learn to enjoy yourself, because God created you for you and not for anybody else. Build that self-concept. And yet, Obine Ben also say, send your 19 efe. Onyankopon abo. Accept who you are. That has a 9 efe. Send our code to get be proud of yourself. Say, this is Sister Eva, Mimiko to Bedi. Brother Stephen, Mimiko to Bedi. I don't need Akosia to tell me that Mimiko to BF. And send me you Onyankopon. David is say, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I don't need anybody to tell me that. Every kind book will say flowers will blossom, whether in the cemetery, in the forest, whether there's somebody to acknowledge the scent or not. You are like that flower. Whether you are on the refuse dump, blossom. Whether you are in a king's palace, blossom. Baby, I will be. You need to blossom. If you say, Onyamia born with such uniqueness, and understand, say, your uniqueness, your development, your future does not depend on the endorsement of any love crush, whether it is identity crush or whether it is a romantic crush. Quotation be a bit there. Bible. Now, me per se, me carry answer na makan sama me trato. Isaiah chapter 40, verses 29 through 31. Isaiah chapter 40, verses 29 through 31. Me can feel message Bible now. Or kind of brofua and na yetiasepa. Young people tiasepa. And tell me the pass me use our version. When me kaya on me kind, or say, or can't nyamia semo, or say nyankopon. God energizes those who get tired. Your relationship, we get so tired. We have formed relationship, they ended, we developed one, they end. And we are so tired. Obia and I drink grass, I mean, relationship, my breath, but a bra breno. Isaiah said, you will nyankopon bia or shewode. And it gives fresh strength to drop out. Yeah, I drop out. No? Breakups, am I drop out? Relationship, ya drop out. Ya re, ya trap to obi, a peche yakuma. But sa akuma peche anymore. And ye peja ye nifi wonyamia. Onyame mayen ahwode foforo. I say for even young people will be tired and then they will drop out. Young folk in their prime stumble and they will fall. But those who wait upon God, they get fresh strength. I would say those who wait on the Lord and they depend on the Lord, they get fresh start. Into what? Your peche wakuma. Sister Eva peche wakuma. Brother Stephen a peche wakuma. Ko nyankopon chen twen wo nyankopon animo. O nyankopon be ma wo ahwonden foforo. What the best chance here? How you see life will change. Just wait upon the Lord and don't rely on live in the past. Minya Brother Stephen. Oko manenko. Minya Sister Eva. Oko manenko. Ne waka wo bremu. Eye wo eni wo nyankopon na onyame no so ene wa hye bo se me fi be broken heartedness mu na me call him China ono be ma me fresh start obe ma me baton foforo be the best shake me ka foforo. I say they spread their wings. I say and I will spread my wings and soar like eagle. I feel the near obdi me say see from bu makoma no Sister Eva I feel ohumia obehu me kwan so nkoso Brother Stephen ehumia obehu me kwan so nkoso ade onyame amma me ahoden foforo me turu mika mentebre. And they will walk. They will never lag behind. Wa ya peche wakoma. Get up again. See yourself in the light of God. So when yame, I will be a way see the amount. Now don't want to yame so. na nyame ahoɔden a wode fi ɔba Kristo mu ne n'adom mu ɔde mayɛ no wogye a wontwa toɔ wɔ abrabɔ mu ɛda wongodu baabi a wonka sɛ me time metwa mu ɛfisɛ bra Stephen anware me bra Sister Eva anware me. You will never lag behind. Why? Because you waited upon the Lord. He energized you, he strengthened you, and as you waited, he gave you a fresh start. And so you are always ahead and you are never lagging behind. And remember, breakups contain valuable life lessons. So obi peche yakuma yadie. Then so a church niema ebebre ewa abrabum. So you get to improve upon your life. A bitterness there, but we learn through such bitter experiences. Now also, it enhances better coping skills, like reaching out and practicing good self-care. Say, bubuya kuma peche ya. Now, in that low ebb, say, how can we rely on ourselves to sustain ourselves? All we have is me. How do I develop myself? Only is me. I have to live my life for myself to reach my goal so that I will actualize myself. It is self-care. So broken heart and self-care skills will never be developed. Now also, learning from our mistakes fosters lifelong emotional intelligence and relationship management skills. Ebra yebubu yakuma yedi ense esifom. Ebra yenya broken heart. How we handle unfortunate circumstances, bitter experiences, how we manage relationship. You will be our Sister Eva. You will be our Bra Stephen. You be transfer your hate and your bitterness into that person. And now say we will hold on to who we are and maintain our disposition. And which one is which? Through brokenheartedness, we learn these skills. And also, broken heart and breakouts, they keep us focused on the positive and the negative aspects of our behavior so that we can grow into healthy, accountable people. Brother Stephen, I don't say see from one pay. Sister Eva, I don't say see from one pay. Singamebwa, not or Sister Kusuya. Singamebwa, na bra kwesi bawa kwemwa. Senya obi ye wa one penny. Now broken heart tells you that don't do that to other people. Remember, the American say, Ebra ye will form relationships. And they are part of developmental processes. Men for akuma nkusisu bebre because they are never meant to last. So do akuma nkusisu na oreku na obi epeche wakuma. Men fa enhwiase enye enda. Sorry na afedie wankasa hwe wo. Awani tu onyankopon so. Twedi ampo onyankopon has planned for a better moment for you. Mesre ma onyankopon peja ye na yenya broken heart. Yena yehu nkofo bi broken heartedness na yemahye see ntumi for me relationships abi onyankopon ba ye ahoden foforo ebra yetwe nanim no ema oma yenri entwa to eda ewade kwa Yesu Kristo di mo. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Amen.
Amen.